How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another entry in sharing your stories, which, if this is your first time stumbling upon a video like this on the Vanlife Plus YouTube channel, all I'm doing is sharing stories that have been sent in by members of the community here, subscribers, sharing their nomadic journeys, their nomadic goals, whether that's van life, SUV life, camper life, whatever it might be, or even if they don't have any sort of inclination to live in a vehicle. Maybe they're just enjoying the channel and they want to share something from their life. Nothing's off limits, so to speak. So let's just get right into it. This first story comes from Joseph Malloy, who is otherwise known as Joseph Malloy Travels on YouTube. And Joseph has been an incredible supporter of what I am doing. There is not enough thanks I can say that will truly show my appreciation, but I think he knows that. So Joseph writes in and he says, "Hello, Matthew. This is out of my comfort zone, but when in Rome, here goes. I'm 60 years old and manage a cemetery crematory and live in the caretaker's house. My wife and I have lost 2 houses of our own due to a gambling habit that has since been eradicated. Good for you. So when I retire, I have nowhere to go. I saw videos of van life with Chrome and thought how cool that would be, but wasn't sure about not being able to stand up because I have stage 4 cancer in my bones, and my wife is disabled. Then I saw some high roof vans and thought that would work, so my wife said, let's do it for a retirement plan. So I came across your channel when you started building out your van using that little dresser as a workstation and have been following you ever since. I love your channel and the kind person that you are. Definitely a rare breed, and I mean that in a good way. Anyway, I bought just about everything you would need to build out a van. Then my wife informs me she doesn't want to do it. So maybe I will buy the van and just use it for trips and camping unless she passes first. Then it's full steam ahead." Which he ended with an LOL, so everybody just calm down. Anyways, I can live out my dream through you and your channel and this wonderful community. Much love to all of you, Joseph. Well, thank you, Joseph. I'm glad you shared that. There was a few things in there I didn't know about you. I'm sorry about the, the ailments that sort of plague your life, but you seem to have a very good attitude about it, all things considered. Yeah, my little workstation. I think a little bit of that ended up in the actual build of Lucky at the end of it as well. Some of the flip out tables and whatnot. Thank you so much for your support and watching that. I would say don't give up on it. Even if she doesn't want to do it, that's fine. You got to stand by her side. You made that bed, so you got to lay in it. But maybe still focus on getting the build done. You know, it'd be a good place to put all of your energy and whatnot. And even if you just do it for camping trips, I'm telling you, that alone is going to, I think, change your life for the better, regardless. So yes, please, can you continue to live vicariously through my channel, but don't use that as a means to not follow through with your dreams. Thank you for sharing that, Joseph. I appreciate it. All right, now I got a little bit of a longer one here. This comes from another well-known name in the community, another longtime supporter. This comes from Nancy. Hello, Nancy. She writes in, she says, "Hello, Matthew. First off, I'd like to say a big thank you for sharing your inspiring journey. Your channel has been a bright place for me to feel like life can be what you want it to be. All you have to do is act on your dream. The biggest thing that always holds me back is fear. The second biggest thing that holds me back is worrying about judgment from others. Well, after much thought, maybe a little too much in fact, I've decided to throw caution to the wind and just go for it. Fear can turn out to be nothing, and as for judgment, well, I can't control what others think of me. You're damn right. I am getting a little ahead of myself, so let me backtrack for context. I had a pretty normal childhood, nothing too bad, and I've done work with a therapist to address the issues that I couldn't work past on my own. Moved out of my parents' house the day after high school graduation. My dad had been telling me he had saved for college when in fact, that was a lie. Oh no. I had been working the last 2 years of high school and saved every penny. My mom told me I'd have to start paying rent, to which I said no. Now, mind you, I was working full-time, going to school, and still doing chores around my parents' house. So when I found out I'd also have to pay for college, well, let's just say that sparked a fire in me. I was able to get Pell Grants to pay for some of the school expenses, but it was on me to keep a roof over my head and put food in my belly. It wasn't easy, and I lived paycheck to paycheck. Sadly, I never finished college. My brother called me one day and asked if he could move in with me. At the time, I was under 21 and he was 17. I told him he could as long as he worked to help pay for expenses and/or finished high school. Decades later, I found out that my dad had been beaten by my brother for underage drinking, so that's why he left our parents' house. Life had its ups and downs, 2 failed marriages, but from each of those I learned valuable lessons. I love being an aunt to my niece and nephew. I've done some solo travel, and let's just say I've been bitten by the travel bug. I've learned to set healthy boundaries and stand up for what I feel is right. I've learned that I matter and that I am the only one who can make me feel happy. I've developed a thick skin and removed people from my life who don't treat me as I deserve to be treated. I was never able to have children of my own. The heart wanted to, but my body just wasn't able to. I'm at peace with never having children. In 2006, my parents divorced. Neither one of them ever moved past it. Neither one ever remarried. My dad dated one person for a brief time, but my mom never let another man into her life. They also never enjoyed their golden years. Those retirement years were spent alone, living day in and day out with little to show for it. No rediscovering what life could offer, no making new friends, and no exciting adventures. Really sad. But it is the biggest lesson my parents taught me. They taught me what not to do. Don't waste precious time, don't hold on to hurt, and don't dwell on the past, etc. My dad passed away in May of 2022. He was estranged from his brothers and lost touch with his friends. I tried saying my goodbye to him, but he was in such a state of fear about dying that I focused on keeping him comfortable. My mom developed dementia 2 years ago, and I've discovered that caregiving is really hard. I was trying to take care of her all by myself as my brother wasn't any help, but I soon burned out. I've learned to take a step back and just try to do my best with limits in place for me. I landed a great job last year that I thought I'd stay at long term, but a thought just kept me awake at night. Is this how I want to live my life? Well, the answer is no, of course. I want to do more things on my terms. I want to travel and not worry about making that fit around a job. Luckily, I've been blessed with a small inheritance from my dad. I've always lived within my means and been frugal. I sat down one day and came up with a budget and a plan. So I gave notice at my job, and I'm planning on visiting U.S. national parks in 2023. I bought myself a park pass for Christmas. The plan is to start here on the west coast of the U.S. where it's warm. My hope is to be on the road for a month at a time and fit in short trips back to Arizona so I can visit my mom. Now, ideally, it would be great if I had a van I could live and travel in, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm so excited for 2023. It's going to be a year of positivity, pun intended, because she spelled it P-A-W. Happy New Year, signed Nancy. Sorry, I don't normally cut these videos, but I had some people pull up that were going cross-country skiing. I guess I started a trend by pulling Lucky in here. Oh well. Nancy, thank you very much for sharing that. You and I obviously have a lot in common, at least with the way we are viewing things and the people in our lives that can potentially hold us back. And I've spoken about that fear of judgment from other people. And it's easy for me to just continually say, well, who cares? Who cares? Who cares what other people think? Don't let it bother you. But I totally understand that it does bother certain people, and it is what holds back a lot of people from doing a lot of things. You just really have to try so hard to get yourself into the mindset of not giving a shit, right? I mean, I talk about this a lot, but it's true, and that's one thing we all need to do better is just not care what other people think of us. There's always going to be people in the world, in our lives, that are going to go out of their way to hurt us. Maybe not necessarily physically, in the case of your brother, sometimes very physically, and it's best to just remove those people from our lives. And if we don't have the means of removing them, because it's some moron online that thinks they're some sort of social justice warrior protected by the anonymity of their computer screen. Well, you just ignore them, you block them, you don't react to it, and you just do you, right? And you're doing that right now. You learned what did and didn't work. I'm sorry for the loss of your parents, and I'm sorry that you had to witness what can happen when you basically just stop living. Even though you're alive, you just kind of give up. I am sorry that you had to witness that, but I think in the long run, it was a good thing for you to witness, because it helps solidify exactly what it is that you wanted from your life, even though you always had that inkling growing up. Thank you again, Nancy, for sharing your story. All right, we got one more here. I think we'll keep this one at 3. This one is a little bit of a longer one. This one comes from Jeff. Jeff writes in and he says, "Hey Matt, hope things are going better for you after your Christmas van issues. I only found your channel back in September of this year and have really enjoyed watching you, Penny, Stella, and of course the star of the show, Lucky." Oh, that's nice of you to say, Jeff. "I came across your channel when my roommate, the owner of the mobile home we were living in, decided to sell the mobile home instead of fixing the roof that had a leak. Yeesh. So I found your channel while trying to figure out what I was going to do about my current dilemma and where to live. After looking through apartment apps for areas locally and seeing that even a studio apartment had shot up in prices by $300 from the last time I had owned my own place, I didn't know how I was going to be able to afford that, plus the other expenses that accompanied, power, gas, etc. Such a thing was already paying for storage. I don't know how, to afford that plus the other expenses that accompanied such a thing with already paying for storage of my stuff that was not going to fit in a small studio apartment. Car payment, insurance, the ever-rising gas prices, and food, plus any other expenses. So I thought, why not try out the van life in my Yukon? Oh, nice. I had seen others set up a Yukon with a living area in the back and such, and figured I could attempt a similar endeavor and save some money. Save said money that I would have spent. Maybe pay off the Yukon and get a full-size van or something. So on November 1st, I found myself homeless and residing in my Yukon. Houseless, not homeless. Thank you, Nomadland. And as I write this, I still am on December 29th. We're slowly getting caught up. I apologize. I'm a bigger guy, and the back of the Yukon seems a bit confining for me. With limited funds to set up the back, I was able to get a decent 6-inch twin mattress, a decent-sized lockable storage box, blackout window coverings, a decent EF portable power station, EcoFlow 600 watt is all I could afford at the time, bedding and such. A small 12-volt 400-watt inverter that never seems to want to work right with my small 200-watt heater, and other small amenities for this next step in my life. I was excited and scared at the same time. Excited for something different happening in my life versus the last 3 years I was in the mobile home. And scared as I was sleeping in this huge lot at work where the full staff, we only ever used maybe 1/8 of the lot, due to our local Walmarts not allowing overnight parking. So I was almost always at work, which wasn't as hard to get away with as where I work is open 24/7, 365. The only time it closes since I have worked there is when the power was out, and that was only for about 6 hours. Either I was working, parked in a spot up front, or way at the back of the lot in the back of the Yukon for the night. I got used to really quick of the needed bathrooms in the area I could use in a pinch or hurry and such. After a week, I even started going to the library to use the free Wi-Fi with my laptop. I got used to making sure my devices were plugged into the 12-volt USB ports, as I couldn't make it through my day at work without something to listen to and distract me from the tap-tap of everyone typing, or some of them think they have to pound on the keyboard to get it to work 8 to 12 hours a day. Bang, bang, bang. I get what you're saying. So I thought I was good. I was getting into the swing of things. I would get up, get ready for work, put in 8 to 12 hours, go get dinner or library on short work days, and then hit the sack. Rinse and repeat. On the day that I was off, I would grab my mail, get laundry done, get food for the week, mainly pouches of tuna and chicken with a few other things, as I had no way of keeping stuff refrigerated. And if I had time, then I would hit the library. Then we had our first snowfall. Uh-oh. Was woken up around 3 or 4 a.m. to the plow truck in the lot at work plowing snow around me. Was waiting for someone to knock on the window or something. Got so worried about this happening, I decided to park closer, just off to the side where I could back my Yukon up, where the tailgate was pointing to an empty field and no one parked in that area, but would necessarily seem out of place, just someone not wanting to park next to everyone. Next time the snow came down wasn't as bad. Still got woken up by the plowing, but wasn't as worried. However, was freezing and tried to get the small heater going. This is when I realized I didn't really have anything to keep it going to warm up the entire back. So I grabbed an extra blanket from storage. Things seemed good. A couple weeks before Christmas, both of my legs and feet began to swell up. I am prone to getting gout. I knew this would be a possibility and knew I just needed to ensure my diet was good and was getting enough water and sleep. So that is what I looked at doing. Then, on the Friday before Christmas, I found blistering on the back of one of my calves. Had a similar thing happen about 5 years or so ago with the blister. Edema on both of my legs. Decided I maybe needed a night or two stay at a local motel, hoping the swelling would come down. Stay at a local place that I will never stay at again. Don't understand how their parent company allows its current condition. Yet nothing helped. Christmas Eve comes and I look at the time. The local urgent cares will be open until. I cut out of work early at 4:40 p.m. to a place that on their website says they are only closed on Christmas and open 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. It's about a 45-minute drive, but my best bet on the eve of it. It's about a 45-minute drive by my best bet on the eve of Christmas. I get there and not a single light is on. Call their number and listen to the voice message again. They say they are open until 9 p.m., a small hour difference from their website. No biggie. It's just around 6 p.m. now, and I start looking for other urgent cares and ended up with nothing. And of course, I think to myself that I can't afford the cost of an ER visit. So I decided to tough it out until the 26th. Go into work my 8 hours and once again cut out early and head to an Instacare. They were closed this time and open. A $50 copay and an hour wait to see the doctor for him to come in and hear my issue and tell me to go to the ER. Oh boy. They need to run tests and he won't even touch my legs. Wow. So 4 days in and I should have just gone to the ER on Friday when it first showed up. Go to the ER. An hour to find a place close enough to the ER that I feel comfortable walking with my right leg draining from the open blisters. Get into the ER and get checked in and a pre-checkup. That's what I'm going to call the nurse asking me the normal questions and the sitting back and into the waiting room. Within 5 to 10 minutes, then about an hour wait for them to have a room for me. 20 to 30 minutes for my actual nurse to come in and get vitals and ask the same questions the first nurse asked, as if it changed in the last hour. Finally, 15 minutes later, the doctor comes in and asks a couple more questions, looks at my legs, and said he was going to have them come and ultrasound my legs and x-ray my chest. About an hour and a half later, a lady comes in to ultrasound my legs, takes about 10 to 15 minutes and leaves. About another hour later, another lady comes in to take the x-ray. A while after that, the original nurse comes in and says he needs to put in an IV line. And then about another hour later, another nurse comes in and does some ultrasound on both legs. Yet another hour goes by, another hour and a half goes by, another doctor pops back in, says they're going to have to refer me to a general doctor so they can... Sorry, my screen just went black. To a general doctor so that they can set me up with a referral to a wound clinic, and they're going to go ahead and get me out of here. 30 minutes later, a different nurse comes in to let me know that they will be getting me out soon. The doctor comes in to say they can't see anything in the ultrasound. And oh, did you know you have an enlarged heart? My mood was already very low and didn't think it could get lower, but it hit rock bottom. Got into a conversation about my current living circumstances and said with my current circumstance, I need to be in a normal living situation. So right there was the end of my journey into van life. So now I'm in the process of getting help from family to get things situated for living. My legs and my heart. Man, I'm hoping the coming 2023 gets better. So sometimes plans change and you just have to roll with it. Thanks for all of your content thus far. I have really enjoyed it, Jeff. Dude, I'm sorry. That sucks. You know, there's so many situations out there where people can just become a statistic in the system. And, you know, certain systems can't hold themselves up. Some people feel like they're not being taken seriously. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And it's extra hard that you had to go through that during the holidays. And it's too bad that it's now sort of put this black mark on your venture into van life. I don't, it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, regroup, stay focused, and maybe you can do it again later. But that is what I'm going to say. You're getting help from family to get set up with that. That's great. I think you're very blessed to have that ability from family to help you out in that way. And maybe spend some more time once you're comfortable and on the mend, planning what the next look at van life could be. Maybe it's not in the back of a Yukon. I understand that was your only chance. That was your only option at the time. But you never know what the future holds. I like your attitude of just roll with it. I think you're on the right path attitude-wise, and I hope you are on a very solid path to healing, my man. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you sharing your story with me and the rest of the community. And if anybody has anything that they can add to any of these stories, please do so in the comments below. I'm going to leave this one here. If you would like to send in your story and have me read it here and share it with our members of the community, please do so. You can do that at the email address vanlifepluscontact@gmail.com. Do not hesitate to send them in. I would be more than happy to read your stories here on the channel. And until the next one, you guys just go out there and be happy, be creative, be yourselves. Most importantly, be positive, and I'll see you all in the next one.